Rangrik. In the Nyunmong, the disturbed state of mind, we implicitly believe without questioning that all of the pleasant and unpleasant experiences of life are simply imposed upon us from the world. That's the basic orientation or framework. And that's why we're always trying to figure it out better or negotiate it more cleverly or more skillfully. We think good and bad experiences simply happen to us, and then we have to deal with them as best we can. We don't use our awareness to look at our own minds and see just how primary is the role of our own minds in even shaping the sense of what is pleasant and unpleasant, of what is desirable and what is undesirable. We don't think, this is anger in my mind. We think, that person made me angry. That thing made me angry, right? And because we think the world is simply doing these things to our own minds, and our minds are simply passive receptors of these experiences, then we always blow things out of proportion. So it's, you always make me angry that way, or you never do this no matter how many times I ask you, and everything is taken to some ridiculous extreme. So this mind that is caught up in these emotional responses that it believes are just coming from outside never gets the balance right. Its judgment is severely impaired. That's why I say temporary insanity. There's no perspective. Everything looks too big, it's up too close, or everything looks too small, it's too far away. It's never right there where you can see it sharply and clearly. And of course, as you know, the mind is also so busy chasing this and that, going so fast, that there's almost no space or no time, seemingly, within the mind to catch up with itself and say, whoa, what actually just happened? By the time you stop to think what actually just happened within my mind, there's something else that distracts it, something else that pulls it yet somewhere else. So this is the mind of disturbances, the disturbed state of mind that includes, passion, aggression, indifference, jealousy, pride, and you name it. So mind is very funny. On the one hand, its quality, its basic quality that can never be removed, is that it knows itself. At the same time, mind has this terribly bad habit of forgetting or losing sight of itself constantly under the barrage of different perceptions and thoughts and experiences and memories that just pull it in another direction. So the first thing you see in meditation is when you say, oh, I got lost, I was supposed to just be doing this, maybe watching the breath or just being receptive and not allowing the mind to stick or focus anywhere. You say, oh, I got lost, I got distracted. What does that actually mean? What happens when the mind is distracted? Does something come from outside and grab the mind and force it to go somewhere else? It can't happen, right? It's that something popped up in the experience, in the field of experience of your own awareness, that fooled awareness into believing that that happened outside the mind, somewhere else. That it simply came to your mind. When someone says something to you, you have a memory of someone saying something and it was funny, then you laugh. The person's not here. They're not saying anything to you. The entire event is happening within your own mind, but in that moment, you find it funny because you actually feel as if that person is talking to you. You are not aware that you are sitting on a cushion in a meditation hall. In that moment, I promise you. It's like being in a dream state where you have all of these emotional reactions to people and events and places that your mind has completely fabricated, right? Or like watching a movie or a video that you get completely sucked into and you kind of really enjoy it, right? You like getting lost and having all of your emotions stimulated, and you enjoy the suspension of belief, as they call it. Well, that's the suspension of belief that you're trying to reverse in meditation. So sometimes I have the thought about myself, oh, I've spent so many years practicing meditation. If I add up all the hours, it's like some astronomical number. It's ridiculous. Then I think, going back to my childhood, how many hours I spent watching TV and daydreaming in school or playing sports with my friends, and I'm sure my meditation hours have not caught up yet. So mind is by nature aware of itself, and yet when mind becomes accustomed or habituated to looking at all of the experiences within its own space as happening somewhere else, then that energy or that force becomes very strong. Tulku Urgyen, our common teacher, used to say it's like if you take a piece of paper and you roll it up very tightly and you tie a rubber band around it and you put it on a shelf for many years. And then you forget it's there, and then one day someone reminds you, oh, you remember you have that very important scroll. What did it say? And you say, I can't remember, let's check. And so you take off the rubber band and you spread it out on the table. What happens when you lift your hands and let go? It goes. That's the power of habituation in our minds. There's nothing there except I don't know what you call it in scientific terms, the kinetic power or something of the paper that is used to being folded in a particular way. Our minds are used to chasing after our own experiences as if they are coming from somewhere else and losing sight of its own nature as the awareness, as the experiencer of everything. Everything we experience, and on this neuroscientists and Buddhists agree, everything we experience through and with and in our own minds. We never experience something that is beyond the sphere or domain of our own minds. And yet, we constantly feel as if we are doing just that. Even though mind knows itself, mind's habit is to lose sight of itself, to lose track of itself, to forget its own nature as awareness. So in meditation, we're trying to prepare ourselves to enjoy the delicious food of samadhi. And that preparation, which we can also call training or purification or many other terms, that training is reorienting the mind once more to remember more and more what it actually is, what the nature of its own experience actually is, and not to get so caught up and bothered and disturbed by whatever happens. And that nourishes the mind and it nourishes the body. That's how we experience the well-prepared food of samadhi. But what happens? We sit down on the cushion and there's the mind that says, okay, now I'm going to just follow the instruction. What's the is there one instruction you're working with now? One primary instruction for your sitting meditation?
Rest in open awareness.
Okay, rest in open awareness. Okay. Now I'm just going to rest in open awareness. Someone decides that, right? There's a voice in your mind. It's just, you say, okay, I'm just getting started. I need that as kind of my start button. Now I'm going to rest in open awareness. And it works for a moment, maybe, and then you think, did it or didn't it? And that's already a different mind, right? And then something happens in the room that irritates you. Oh, that person has got that sniffle again, or my knee, I can never find exactly the right position to put it in without it, acting cranky in this way or whatever. Because the thought, I am going to meditate now, has its certain power, but it's not the boss, it's not the ruler of all of the other thoughts that pop up into the mind.